The spooky season is upon us, so I thought today we would make some spider webs to use in our assorted tabletop terrain. So today I'm going to be using some acrylic sheet. I've got the plastic covering still on it here. And some of this is going to be our primary ingredient. These are little clumps of cotton that can be stretched out and used as spider webs. I got this at Michael's, and it was a pretty decent price. I think I spent like $5 for it. Alright, so let's go ahead and start by making the framework for our webs. So I've done a couple videos showing different uses for the acrylic sheeting. I've done some clear bases and then showed how I put it all together. In this video, I'm going to be using the acrylic not necessarily just as bases, but as a framework to put these spider webs onto. Now here I'm just cutting a couple strips. I'm going to make an assortment of different sizes for everything. These strips are 1/2 an inch wide by about 2 inches tall. I'm going to be using a bunch of different shapes as well, so some of them are going to be 1.5 inches tall, some of them are going to be a little bit wide, some are going to be short. You kind of get the idea. So what I'm going to be doing is deciding roughly which side I want to be the top and which side I want to be the bottom, and then I'm just kind of fitting everything together with just a quick line of hot glue. And this is a piece that's going to be pretty easy to put into hallways, and I'm making a few other assorted pieces for like, this one's going to be for a doorway, and I'm making a couple others for like a corner piece or just to kind of like slot into doorways, things like that. Now the advantage to this acrylic, and also one of the disadvantages, is when you hot glue everything together, if you don't like the placement of something, it pops off pretty easily. So I didn't want this piece to be directly centered, I want it to be offset, and I'm going to put the opposing side offset as well. But you do have to be a little careful when using this. If you don't reinforce things enough, it could, kind of come apart a little bit too easily. Alright, so now we've got all of our frameworks put together, let's go ahead and start adding our web. So I'm going to start by using this piece and just doing a quick line across the top of it. Now I pulled a small little bit of the webbing out of the bag and just kind of clipped it off. This piece is specifically going to be for like a hallway kind of setup, just to kind of put off to one side to indicate that, oh, there's spooky webs and there's a giant spider colony nearby, that kind of thing. So what I did was I just glued the webbing down to the very top, and I'm just kind of stretching it out and pulling it to where I want it to be. So I'll figure out where I want it to go, put down a little glob of hot glue, and then pull the web down and press it into it. And my apologies for my camera, it does not like focusing on the webs, so it's just kind of constantly going in and out of focus, and I'm sorry about that. While I was filming, I forgot to turn off the autofocus. That's my fault. Now, because of how stretchy this is, you can kind of twist it around and pull it in any kind of different directions that you want to kind of add depth or variation to it. I did decide to kind of pull things down across the back. It'll give me the option to use this as kind of like an improvised, oh look, there's a wall of webs kind of thing across a room, stuff like that. Now, as your webbing kind of takes shape, you can kind of pull it in different directions or tear sections out or poke holes in it, and however you like, just to kind of get the shape and density of webbing that you'd like to have. Alright, and once I've got everything in place, I just take a pair of scissors and snip off any excess. And then using that excess, I can just kind of fold it in half a little bit to get a little bit of extra coverage, and then make a smaller section also for a hallway. Now, I forgot to film it, but when you're doing something for like a doorway or something like that, what you're going to want to do is tack it down to one side, not necessarily to the top, and then pull strands away from the area that you've got it, and just kind of pull it to where you want like a good clumping. You don't want to completely block the doorway unless you want like a blocked pathway. Just leave a couple little open spaces just to kind of give the impression that yes, there is a pathway, yes, players can move their models through it, that kind of thing. Alright, this one's looking pretty good as well. So I think it's about time to snip off the excess and secure anything down that might look like it come loose. Now, once you have made all the pieces that you want, it is time to reinforce the webbing and make it a little bit more sturdy. And to do that, I grabbed a little bit of Mod Podge and a brush, and I just kind of started slathering it on. Now, I am just kind of grabbing a brush full of the Mod Podge and just kind of spreading it onto the webbing, just kind of haphazardly. I'm not looking to make pronounced strands or anything like that. I'm just trying to coat some of the webs pretty heavily and some of the webs a little bit loosely. Because when you look at cobwebs, naturally, they kind of have these sections that are kind of clumped together, you know, from dust and things moving the web around over time, and then there's other areas that are a little bit less densely packed. And using the Mod Podge like this will kind of help recreate that. Alright, so like I said, I made a few different ones of these. Here is kind of like the doorway or the passageway one. You can see it kind of spreads out a little bit. I did like 3 different layers into this one, and then I made a couple of hallway ones. These are going to work out pretty nice for a doorway or like an archway. I can use that to kind of signify some blockage or some web covering. And then here's our long hallway one. I'll probably end up making a few more of these off camera. And here we go. I've let the Mod Podge dry for a good 2-3 hours, and this is the end result. It looks a lot more realistic now, a lot more like sticky and creepy looking webs. And putting them on the acrylic bases really lets me, you know, kind of use these in a lot of different scenarios and settings. I really like how these came out, and I think I'm going to have a lot of fun tormenting, putting my players through situations with these. Yeah, totally not tormenting. Alright, so that's going to be it for today. Thank you everyone for watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe for future content, comment down in that comment section, and I will see everyone next episode.